Yeah, go ahead, Jessica.
All right. Well, it looks like we are live. Probably still getting out to everybody, but so glad to be doing Havdalah after a little bit of a break. Um, Hope everyone has been staying safe, being responsible, not being careless with your life or other people's lives. Hope you have been kind to one another, showing the love of Yeshua always, right? So we are doing Havdalah again after a break, and we have a couple elements here. Just a refresher for those that need it. We have some wine to signify the joy of Shabbat. We have some spices, sweet smelling spices, to remember um, the sweet smelling aroma of Shabbat. And we have a light, which is kind of a fairly new Havdalah candle. It's really, really tall. But we're going to say some blessings, and Stephen's going to lead us. And this is all just to close out Shabbat, remembering the sweet smell, the sweet taste, and the light of Shabbat. And we're going to take it into the next week until we can usher in Shabbat one more time. So, Stephen, go ahead.
All right. Lie, lie, la, 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 lie, 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 la, 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 lie, lie, la, lie, la, 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 lie, lie, la, la, lie, la, la, lie, 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 la, 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 lie, 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 la, 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 lie, 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 la, 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 lie, lie, la, la, lie, la, la, lie. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Bore peri hagafen, bore peri hagafen. Amen. Lai lai la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai lai la la lai la la lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai lai la lai la 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 lai lai la la lai la la lai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam bore mine vesamim bore mine vesamim Amen La 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 Lie, lie, la 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 lie, 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 la 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 lie, lie, la lie, la 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 lie, lie, la la lie, la la lie. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam bore meorei haesh bore meorei haesh Amen Lie, lie, la 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 lie, 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 la 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 lie, 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 la 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 lie, lie, la la lie, la la lie, 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 la 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 lie, 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 la 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 lie, lie, la lie, la 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 lie, lie, la la lie, la la lie. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimheya Beyamenu, Ya'avo Eleinu, Imashiach ben David, Imashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi.
And we extinguish our lights in joy. And we say Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov. Hey, so I just wanted to share with you guys, Stephen and Jessica, but also everybody watching. I just started reading a new book. So I'm only 2 chapters in, but it's a super interesting book that I'm going to make a recommendation if you guys are interested. Written by a friend of mine who pastors a church in Las Colinas. And it's called. Oh, wait. This is when you can't use a fake
We're
background.
close. Back to you.
Hold on a second. It's called Upset the World
Ah, Tim
by
Ross.
Us. Hold
Yeah.
on. Now let me put the background back.
There you go.
Don't want you to see my my dirty room behind me. But this is it's such an intriguing book because he comes with this premise. Listen, I'm only 2 chapters in, so I'm still kind of like plowing through it, but his whole premise is that um, we're here to be upsetters, not to make people angry, but that we upset the way of the world, and we do that through love. And I mean, I shouldn't say it's intriguing because Yeshua talks about it in the book of John, so
Right.
it's not new. Um, but just the way he puts it, there's some really interesting things in here. And he says, if you're going to upset people, the Holy Spirit needs to go with you. Um, we talk about how many people, like this is one of the things that I find, I don't know if laughable, maybe too harsh of a criticism, but always you hear, oh well, I've led 12 people to the Lord, or I've led 30 people, or 100 people. That's actually not true. You've led zero. The Holy Spirit has drawn everyone. He just happens to be using each one of us in a conversation. Um, so I don't know. I just recommend you guys take a look at it. There's some super interesting stuff in here. Um, Talks about um, upsetters. So this is the term he uses: upsetters. Upsetters love people who are unlovable, and you know, I, I think it's fair to say that we live in a society now where all of us think that there are some people who are unlovable. Um, in fact, I mean, I know both of you guys know him, but I have a dear friend, and he and I have varying levels of tolerance for um, certain types of people. And the funniest thing is that the people that he has zero tolerance to love are the people that I love, and then the people that I have zero tolerance to love are the ones that he loves. And so I told him, I said, "Listen, dude, you and I make a perfect team because, with our powers combined, we can we can love the world." But but I just like this book is just challenging in the way that we look at interactions. Again, it's not that any of it is new. He talks about the parable of the Samaritan, the Good Samaritan, and how that person did what everybody else was supposed to have done. Um, but he was the one who actually crossed the street and loved the person who was broken and downtrodden. And that's kind of our call, is to love the people, to be the embrace of God that the people feel, and um, to walk with them through. I mean, right now it's you're walking with people through like basically a bunch of garbage. Um, I mean, the world is of the mindset right now that Um, you know, if you're on one side of the aisle, you're the problem. If you're on the other side of the aisle, you're the solution. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. Both of them view the same thing. Um, but the reality is, when Joshua interacts with the commander of the Lord's army, and he says, "Whose side are you on?" And he says, I'm not on anybody's side." He's like, "Whose side are you on, sucker?" But but anyways, he says in this, love is too hard already for the body of Messiah to walk past people who are broken, hurting, and in pain, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and psychologically. Then he says, if you can't love people right where they are, you probably have a hard time receiving love from God. It's a super simple statement, but it's very interesting. So, anyways, I'll probably hop on next week and give you an update on my progress through the book since I'm in chapter 3. Hopefully next week I'll be past chapter 4. But I'm reading like 4 books right now, so I'm having fun. I'm back into some good books. Um, so I don't know if you guys want to pick up a copy. Wait a second. There we go. Check that out. It's on Amazon. It's digital. Great guy. So, anyways, just thought I'd chat with you for a few minutes. I know it wasn't super like revelatory or anything, but
No, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I was actually thinking about your message this morning and just kind of how you finished. Just loving people, like that's such a, people that are unlovable, that's hard. That's really, really difficult, especially when they're yelling in your face. It's really difficult. But that's what we're commanded to do. And I love what you were saying, again, just towards the end of your message of, not going back to normal, because our normal wasn't healthy, but we need God's intervention. And I know a lot of what's, the unrest that's going on during these times, it is odd, as you were saying in your message. It's just very odd times that we're living in. And I was just thinking that, there's so many ideas going around one aisle, another, or one side of the aisle, as you said. But, I think the most important thing is to love your country. Yes, it's so great, but this isn't home. We're citizens of heaven. And that's where we owe our allegiance to Yeshua. But I just love what you said this morning.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, anyways, thanks, Jessica.
Yeah. That's good.
It's, some of my stuff in my message today was inspired from Tim Ross. Some of it was inspired from another book I'm reading. I just started reading. This is super cute, by the way. My mom bought Ella a kid's adventure Bible, and Ella is like just can't put it down. And so each night we're reading a chapter in the book of Daniel right now. And like tonight, it left off kind of like in the middle of a story. And so I started reading to Leora, and Ella just picked it up, and she's like, "Okay, I'm going to read without you, Dad." So I finished reading with Leora, and she goes, "Dad, can you read in your brain or in your mind?" And I said, "Yeah, sweetie." She goes, "You should read this part of the chapter because it's really interesting." And I said, "Sweetie," I said, "I'll read it tomorrow night when we read together." But it's actually really good. I haven't read Daniel for a while, and I've been wanting to read it. Daniel is one of the few prophets that actually is relatable to us because he lived in exile and lived in a time when the temple was non-existent. So he had the same struggles that we have today, living in exile and trying to figure out how it is compatible with the country you're living in, the leader of the country you're living in, what laws to follow, so on and so forth. So Daniel is actually a super intriguing book when you look at it from how to live life in exile. Um, I don't know. So that's one of the reasons actually why I chose it. Plus, it has Daniel and the Lion's Den, and I thought that would be a good story for Ella. But anyways, I can't remember where I was going. Oh, that Daniel is also one of my inspirations right now, and so, anyways, thank you everyone for watching. Looks like we got about 13 people watching, so listening to our musings now.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Shavua Tov. See you next week.
Shavua Tov next week. Bye, guys.